Happy Tuesday, all. June 11th, 2024. Still having to talk about Donald Trump, Rob. It's unbelievable.
When are we going to be rid of this guy?
At least since 2020, we've been doing this podcast during COVID when, we all went on lockdown and started just buying stuff we didn't need. At least since then, we've been doing this podcast, maybe before. That's 4 years. We're doing other things before that. And when I look back at some of the screens that we put up here on the live stream, I wouldn't actually have to change any of them. Yeah. They're just the same thing over and over and over. The nonsense, the ridiculousness that we all have to tolerate. So now it's June 11th, 2024. And here we go again.
I used to have this little riff, Doug, where I would say that Donald Trump on our This Guy's Got to Go podcast, I used to say that he was cruel, corrupt, and incompetent. And now we have to add criminal to that.
Oh, nice.
Cruel, corrupt, incompetent, and criminal.
Criminal. Yeah, he's criminal. We're going to talk a little bit about that today. Everything they can, they're trying to make sure to get that thrown out. Mistrials. There's all. I mean, here's the great thing for my Trump loving friends, and I have a number of them. In fact, we're going to get back to Red Hat, Blue Hat talk soon. People have been begging for that. Got a couple of little installments from Casey from Red Hat, Blue Hat fame. He sent me some stuff that I wanted to share today. There's just no sense that the guy's not on the button. I mean, it is really something. As someone who pays attention to politics, you and I, we're those kinds of people. We have all kinds of politicians that we'd pick a bone with. Politically, how they do their job, how they behave, all that stuff. Yeah, a lot of these cats, not a care in the world. Just wonder what that's like.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you what it's like in Minneapolis. Another beautiful summer day. It's like almost every evening, every night, it rains a little, which moistens the grass, feeds the grass and the trees. It is the greenest I have ever seen Minnesota in June. It is. We were on a walk the other day, my wife and I, and we live in a very green kind of area. Lots of lawns, lots of trees because it's kind of Minnesota. But even where we live, it's sort of like this. It was one of those perfectly clear days. No fires from Canada. Thanks for ruining last summer, Canada. No fires in the air. It wasn't hot enough to have any kind of, sometimes it gets to be a little haze, a little smoke. None of that. Just clear, bright blue skies. It looked, the blue skies, the green grass, it looked fluorescent. It was trippy. It's actually trippy. So that's how it is around here. Probably going to clear up today and be just lovely, and I have to mow the lawn for the third time in a week. Yeah. The grass likes this weather, and it's really growing. So at least that something to look forward to. How's it over there somewhere squirreled away outside of Springdale, Arkansas?
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's we've had quite a bit of rain this year, which, of course, I mean, just in very typical fashion, Vanessa and I decided that we were going to invest this year in a little drip irrigation system, and something that we had talked about putting in ourselves in our backyard in the garden, and then jumped on Thumbtack, which is a great app, by the way. Jumped on Thumbtack and found an irrigation company, got a quote, and decided, the amount of time we would spend trying to figure this thing out, this is worth paying for. And so we got an irrigation.
What is drip irrigation? It like gathers up your rain from a rain barrel and then slowly.
Well, we have rain barrels, but no, this hooks up to the spigot and like hoses that go, that feed through all of our garden area and have little holes in them where the water drips out and waters the plants. So you don't have to stand and, water the garden. So anyway, so we invested in this irrigation system. Haven't used it.
You haven't
because we've
needed
gotten so much rain,
it?
you
Uh,
know? But between the rain and the little bit of heat that we have, man, our garden is it's just beautiful this year.
mm,
It is. I mean, we got flowers, we got blackberries, we got tomatoes and peppers and radishes, and um, it is just it is a it's a beautiful, beautiful early summer garden, and we're
mm,
thrilled about it. Now, the downside of this, Vanessa has she enjoys the garden so much that she's invited uh, her friends over tomorrow on Thursday. The people that she has coffee with every Thursday morning, they normally go to coffee shops. They're coming to our house on
oh,
Thursday.
sit in your beautiful English garden.
Yeah,
You're
but you know
getting
what that
bumped.
means? That means
Yeah,
a whole lot of cleaning has to be done, probably
so much.
tomorrow evening. So
So much. Yes,
yeah.
I live with a person too who likes the house to be clean when people are coming over.
Mm.
Even parts of the house where they're not going to go,
Yeah.
which is my
Yes.
favorite.
Oh, for
Which is
sure.
my
For
favorite.
sure.
And the
Yeah.
windows in that part of the house. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
all right.
And there's that little phrase, that nothing cleans like company.
Oh, it's a nice phrase. Nothing
Yeah.
cleans like company. Um, we were also considering some watering alternatives because we normally, if I'm going to keep our grass green out here where I live, it kind of got to work for it in the summer, especially
Hmm.
some of the drier ones. And for the 25 years I've lived in this house, I've been hauling hoses around, and we have a very large yard and
Yes.
very limited spigots.
Hmm.
And I'm constantly getting wet. And I'll tell you, hoses and spigoty things that go on the end of your spigot to divide those things break every year
Hmm.
or two. Like
Yep.
I've concluded I've bought good ones, I've bought bad ones. I've
Yep.
been all around. I mean, it's a bit Groundhog Day or a bit Caddyshack like. I'm out there,
Yeah.
chasing not the groundhog, but I'm chasing the perfect hose.
Yeah.
And my gosh, they're just,
Our
so I finally
our goal. Well, I was just gonna say our goal in the backyard is no grass. Every year, every year, there's just the garden encroaches just a little bit more, and
oh,
eventually, no grass in the backyard is the goal.
wow, wow. Well, Godspeed to you on that one. I did
Yeah.
call an irrigation company too to put underground sprinklers in because for
Mm,
literally for 25 years, every year I
yeah.
think, well, I've gotten by this long. I probably should not, the person came out and gave us a quote, and it was
Yeah.
about what I thought it would cost. I don't know, it's like $5,000 or
Mhm.
$6,000 or something. We haven't done it partly because there's been, well, I don't have the money, but it's been no pressure
Yeah.
because the rain's been doing all of it.
Totally. Yep.
And they talked about, because we have a big garden too, and they talked about, hey, we could, what are you doing in that garden now? Are you standing there running the hose? The guy was like, are you standing there like, do you have to stand up and water that? I was like, yeah, well, I don't, but the people who care for our garden, my wife and our neighbor,
Well,
they do.
I'm like, what,
He's
the
like,
gardener?
yeah, no. We have a deal. I've been out replacing 3 fence posts around it. I'm so digging for
Mhm.
post holes and pouring
Yep.
concrete and
Wow.
leveling, and now I got to go screw a board in and paint the thing. I'm willing to do that, but I've just said I will not take on the burden of growing my own food.
Yeah.
I live in
It's
a
a
time
lot.
and a place. It's a
It's a lot.
supplement to anything we eat. It's just
Yeah.
a little nibble on the
Yes.
side. We're not living
Yes.
off our if we're living off our garden, maybe. We're
No.
not living
So
off our garden.
this is
We're,
true. This is true.
we're
I'll tell you though, Doug,
it's
I
the most
made
expensive produce I
oh,
consume. I
for
promise
sure.
you.
Oh,
It's,
for
it
sure.
is
Yes.
insane. It's
Uh,
like my neighbor's chicken eggs. Those things are $7 an egg, I think, by the time you get all
yeah.
the costs, all the costs in.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
Uh, oh, well, Charles not enjoying our conversation here.
Oh,
Uh,
hi, Charles.
um,
Charles, we're talking about gardens right
yeah,
now. I
I
mean,
uh,
we'll get to the criminal
I
Donald
made
Trump in a few
yeah, we'll get
minutes, but
there.
right
Yeah,
now,
you know what I made the other night though.
I wonder if
I
Trump will have to
made
work the garden at the
mm,
New York Penitentiary.
mm,
Okay, go
well,
on.
that's interesting. We'll have to think through what the right job for him in when
Yes.
during his incarceration would be. Um, I made blackberry mint ice cream with blackberries that we grew in our garden and mint that we grew in our garden, and it was fantastic.
Wow. Do you think it was better because it was the your garden grown blackberries and mint, or if you had picked them up from a reputable retailer?
Yeah, if I had stopped at the neighborhood market and gotten blackberries and mint, uh, probably would have tasted the same, but it wouldn't have carried the same. "Ah, we grew these. I picked these blackberries."
Huh.
Mm, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Okay. I get you.
Yeah,
I get you. I guess a lot of
yeah,
people get a lot of pleasure out of that.
yeah.
I've never been one who has. Like I don't know, somehow like it came from, I don't know, from the plant that I watered as opposed to a plant somebody else watered, or I picked them from the bush as opposed to I picked them from the container. I just feel like we're just really, but I know that motivates a lot of people. And to the point, Shelley loves her garden.
Uh-huh.
She loves being out there. It's a beautiful hobby. It's a beautiful thing to do.
Oh,
I'm looking. I'm
there.
not
Yes.
downplaying it at all. I hope we all grow gardens if you want to grow gardens, and I hope you
Yeah.
pick your own food. Hope you raise your own food at every level. Yeah,
Yeah. It could. There's a lot
I
worse
don't.
hobbies than that.
There are worse hobbies. All right. Hey, hello to Alex on the chat. Good to see you, Alex. Says
Hey,
82
Peggy's
degrees
got a question, Doug.
and raining. Yeah, Peggy wants to know
Peggy's
what I
got a
got my wife
question.
for her birthday.
Yeah.
See that? What did I don't know. It was May 8th.
Oh, you don't remember?
Did I don't remember. I'm gonna text. I'm gonna text her right now. I'm
Oh,
gonna
that's gonna
text her
get
right
you.
now.
Will that get you in trouble if you can't remember?
What did no?
No. That's funny because we did have.
Oh, okay. I'm remembering. Did I bring it up on the podcast?
Yes, that's why we're talking about it.
But what was it? Was I conflicted about should I get her anything? What was he?
No, you were asking for
So,
advice on what you should get her.
okay, I have not been in a great emotional space the last couple of months. So if I'm on here begging other people to tell me what to get my wife, that's an indicator. Uh, yeah, I bring that up in therapy today.
Oh,
Okay, I ended up getting her a new teapot.
oh.
Which it sounds a little, now that I say it, it sounds sounds a little lacking. She drinks a lot of hot water, a lot of tea.
That's
The
great.
teapot we had, I don't know, Hamilton Beach or something, some
Yeah,
brand like that you buy on Amazon, middle-ish Amazon
yeah.
price purchase, was also the loudest appliance I have ever heard in my life. It
Well, like the tea kettle that warms up on the stove?
well, it's electric one.
Oh, okay.
When it would start to heat
It
up
heats the hot water. Yes, we had
was
one of those at our church, and there was a woman who would turn it on, like she would help lead music, and when the music was over, she would go turn it on, so she could have some tea while she was listening to the sermon, and this thing would echo through the building. Like
yeah,
it was like when finally it's quieted down and everybody's trying to listen to one person talk. Now there's this
jet
huge racket.
airplane taking off. Yeah,
Yeah,
we would
yes.
regularly. Shelley would have to say, or I'd have to say, hey, "Hang on, I'm in the kitchen, and the tea kettle is going. I
I
can't
can't
hear you."
I can't hear you.
It was louder than our garbage disposal, I think, in total decibels, and it would last longer. Like at least the garbage disposal just runs for a few seconds, and this thing would just build like like an airplane taking off. So anyway, got her a new one. And it's lovely, and it's noisy, a fraction of the noise, and for a much shorter period of time. And
Hmm.
it's been a real boon to the ease of living in our house without this thing, truly. Um, but then they also upsold me. I went to the Williams Sonoma,
Mm. Ooh, fancy.
at the upper end mall by my house, because I was like, I'm not doing Amazon again. I looked at Target, said I'm going to go in and ask the pros over there. So the guy, and then she sold me a little infuser, a little thing you put your tea in, and then you set it in the cup, and it just floats around in there.
Yeah.
It was a little add-on, and I'm like, all right, I'll get that thing too. It seems like a good thing. That's been the hit. Shelley really, really loves the little cheap infuser thing, which I don't know if, Shelley is not a demanding gift receiver.
No.
So yeah, thank you, Peggy, for checking in. If you follow me on Instagram, I'll post some photos and maybe some videos. I'm not going to do any of those things. But yeah. All right. So Joanne is saying John Denver's homegrown tomatoes. Does he have a song about that? I'll work on that one.
I don't know. I feel like Country Road is the only, and Rocky Mountain High are the only John Denver songs I know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did he ever sing it on the Muppets? Oh, I heard. I mean, we've talked documentaries at times. First of all, the Movie Pass documentary on Max.
Yes.
Fascinating.
Really? Okay.
On a number of levels, both in terms of entrepreneurship and business, but then racial components. Super fascinating. I was a big fan of Movie Pass when it first came out, and then was so upset when it died, and now I've been excited that it's back. And this documentary tells the story. It's really great. But then I've heard that Ron Howard directed a documentary about Jim Henson.
Oh.
John Denver. I can't think of John Denver without thinking about the Muppets.
Wow.
The Muppets, obviously reminded me of Jim Henson. So that's one that maybe folks should check out.
And that brought you to Movie Pass.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Stream of consciousness is a little bit like a Trump campaign speech.
I will.
Where did you hear? Did you see some clips? Of the highlights? Talking about he's back to talking about batteries and boats sinking and
electric
sharks.
Boats. The same. He's just in the loop saying the same nonsense.
That speech where he said in Nevada, where he said, all I care about is your vote. I don't care about you.
He was joking. And people around him clearly took it as him joking. I watched the video. It was, he was joking about saying a serious thing.
Yes.
Right. He really does only want that, but he was joking, saying the serious thing, which is his deal. Yeah. But he was off the hook because he lost the teleprompter and then doesn't know what to say.
Why are his teleprompters so shoddy? He's gotten his teleprompters from Temu. This guy, he always complains they're falling over.
Yeah.
The teleprompter's not working.
And then saying, I'm not paying these people. He said it out loud. The teleprompter's not working. Now I'm not paying them because this is shoddy work.
Hey,
insulting the people.
You're a former president of the United States. You're a alleged billionaire.
Yeah, that was
get yourself a high-level Williams and Sonoma level teleprompter. Bring
your own. You're flying on that low-grade, millionaire level airplane. Throw them in there with your tanning booth that you fly around with.
Seriously, we travel with equipment.
Yeah,
for
true.
Folk on the
We
Good.
travel with equipment.
We travel with equipment. You get a roadie. Load that. That guy who works with you, who's been indicted, that guy that you're not supposed to talk to, but he's still your body man. Have him carry the things over. Travel with get some teleprompters that work.
That's great.
Has there been a Trump rally this year where his teleprompters worked?
I don't know. I've only heard the clips because I don't follow every Donald Trump speech. But a few weeks ago, he was in Minneapolis. The teleprompter was falling over. He was in Nevada. It stopped working. But the bigger thing is that, yes, he's buying cheap. Everything's low grade with him. It's all cheap steaks, poorly made ties, and bankrupt universities. That's just his, gilded fake gold life that is the guy. But then when the teleprompter goes away, instead of kicking into this is what this election means, this is what it means for me to be the president, this is why it matters, he starts going on this bizarre stuff about how we're going to get rid of electric boats, which no one is mandating at the government level that people have boats powered by batteries the way that we have trucks and cars powered by batteries.
Yep.
It is a choice of the consumer and the manufacturers.
Yep.
He is so obsessed with there not being electric vehicles or boats and continues to tell this ridiculous story. And if people want to look it up, I mean, always be careful about how much you take. It's like taking Tylenol. Be careful. He goes on this rant about saying to the owner of the boat manufacturer,
somebody at MIT.
I asked him
he asked a question at MIT.
Nobody's ever asked him this before. You know why no one's ever asked him this question?
Because it's a dumb question.
Because it's a dumb question. If the
these people that say there's no
sinks,
such thing as dumb question. There's these people that say there's no such thing as dumb questions. A, they've never met Donald Trump. B, they're wrong. There are dumb questions. Don't ask them. And like, will I get electrocuted if this boat sinks is a dumb question.
Yes, it's a wiring problem. If you get electrocuted from power in a boat.
His bizarre would you rather scenario.
Yes.
He's playing the worst case scenario game where he's like, okay, I'm on a sinking electric boat and there's a shark over there. What am I going to do?
Yeah. Yeah. Do I want to be electrocuted or eaten by the shark?
And he takes electrocuted. He takes electrocuted.
Some poor girl. So then he's for the boats having batteries because if they sink, it's insane.
In the end, I mean, electric boats, problem, better than sharks.
Yeah. And just to be reminded, electric boats, not a problem. There are batteries on every boat.
Yes.
That has an engine.
Yes.
So it's a wiring problem. If somebody has a problem with a battery in water, it's not the battery, it's the wiring problem.
Yes.
The more dangerous thing with a boat is the propeller, but we won't get into that. All right. Well, let's get into the that wasn't even that wasn't even on the list. Hey, my friend Casey from Red Hat Blue Hat Talk, which you can go back and watch some of those if you like.
Is this,
sent me this one in a text message. A little meme that says, "I'm voting for the felon in red, white, and blue with 2024 and 2 stars on it." They're proud to be voting, say it together, everyone, for the felon.
For the felon.
I'm voting for the felon. I mean, at some point, you're just like, hey, we're all in.
Yeah.
I mean, yep, I'm sticking with the felon. I'm trying to make now bragging rights.
Yep. Well, I mean,
this is for the felon.
Yeah, I mean, this is Trump selling T-shirts with his mugshot on them. You know that all they can do is double down. All they can do is lean in. All they can do is try to embrace the mobster component, the Al Capone, and hope that Americans have some kind of fixation with, the Tony Soprano kind of thing.
Yeah. And we do. Let's be clear. In this country, certain criminals do reach a level of cultural popularity. We have gangster stories. We have fixation with old West murderers, Billy the Kid, and all that stuff. Like, those were thugs. Our English friends will tell us we have a problem giving, credit to the insurrectionists too. Back in the late 1770s and 80s, they're very proud to remind us. Oh, y'all bothered by that? Tell us about it. Tell us about how when you rebelled against the kingdom. So
when your whole nation was born out of disobedience to Romans 13. Looking at you, Jeff Sessions.
Look at it. That's a good one. Yeah, and look, so we do have a fixation in this country with picking the criminals. I mean, especially in the South, right? The lost causism and all the rest of it, like putting up statues of the insurrectionists. So it's no wonder that Trump is moving to the modern day insurrectionists and wanting to cheer them on as well, Been doing it from the Civil War. The English would tell us we were doing it the Revolutionary War. We're doing it in 2021. And so the idea that the party of the Republicans is the one that's in with the felons.
Yes.
A shocking twist. A shocking twist.
Up crowd.
Yeah, the
lock her up crowd is now posting, "I'm voting for the felon."
Yeah. Yeah. And Trump even has now said, I never said lock her up. Were you mouthing the words when everyone else was chanting them at your command? So you didn't technically say it?
Yeah, and those who've put out the videos of him saying "lock her up" have been fantastic.
Yeah. All right. So, okay. So Trump's a felon. And then Casey sent me this, and I thought this was super interesting. This is a TV shot. Here's what middle-aged men do when they're arguing about Trump on the internet. While watching television, we take photos and then text them to each other. I mean, real classy. Major factors for the 2024 election. What do people seemingly care about? And this is from the Jesse show on Fox News. The economy, 81%.
Yeah.
The economy's doing pretty well.
Yeah. The economy's always number one.
What part of the economy do you not want? Do you not like? Is there anyone? Inflation.
Going down.
And by the way, this kind of inflation is because every time you pay more money for something, where do you think that money goes? To the person you're buying the thing from, and they pay it to the people they're buying the things from. I don't want to be pedantic, but here's how an economy works. When it's US dollars, the money just stays in the economy.
Just floats around.
Just swims around until the government takes it away and puts in some more new ones. It's just refreshing.
I don't want to go all "I told you so," but I told you so.
About
about how inflation would. One of the things that would help to reduce inflation would be Walmart making the decision to lower prices.
Because they don't need the money. They don't need the money right now. They have enough.
That has happened. I mean, I could dig up the news story, but you heard it here first.
Yeah, you did say that would be a big shift, and they did. Yep. Number 3 on the list: state of democracy.
Yeah, that's not good for Donald Trump.
Nope. Trump conviction meaningful for 28%.
Yeah.
Casey sent me this like, hey, look, this is all bad news for Biden. And here's just the Rorschach test of modern day, well, of probably all periods of time politics, but at least of our day of politics. I'm like, all of these are good things for Biden. Like, the border is 56%. And some of that are people like me who are upset about that we don't have a plan to solve the problem at the border.
Yep.
28% of voters say their number one issue is Trump's conviction. You think any of those are people who said, I'm voting for the felon? No, they're not people who are like, hey, my number one thing is I've always wanted to vote for a felon because I love a guy who can't carry a concealed weapon but can carry the nuclear codes. That's always been my dream of a commander-in-chief, is a guy who has to meet with his probation officer. So you have 28% of people saying...
I think we should elevate probation officer to a cabinet level position.
That's great.
The Senate is going to have to confirm the president's probation officer.
Senate hearings. Let's start that. Hashtag Senate hearings for probation officer. If you have 28% of the voting population saying, my number one issue is Trump's conviction.
It's a problem.
That's a problem. This is a guy who has to win every single vote or he will lose again, because he is on the verge, get a load of this, Rob, of being the most losing presidential candidate for a major party in the history of time. No,
Alday Stevenson ran 4 times and lost, right? He's like the Buffalo Bills or the Minnesota Vikings of
for one of the major parties.
Yeah, he was a Democratic nominee. Wasn't he for?
Oh, we
Okay,
should look
keep
that up.
talking.
Because if I'm wrong about that, we need to put him in second place. Because it could be that Donald
Oh, he
Trump is
can't even win at that.
he's such a loser he can't even win at that. Yeah, yeah. This is a heads I win, tails you lose, Donnie, kind of thing. So anyway, the I want to vote for the felon people are saying to themselves, I think this felony thing's going to work out for us because you know what people care about? The economy, inflation, the state of democracy, the border, and Trump's convictions. None of those. Anyway, I'm not saying that those of us who think Donald Trump should never step foot in the White House again should be fully buoyed by the situation. But look, pretty good news if this is actually what people care about. And I could be wrong, but the economy, by every measure, is doing quite well. I know there's people who say like everything's so expensive and everything's more expensive and all that. Yes, there are things that are more expensive. That's true. That's just true. And that's not the thing that changes all of this. All right, can we, Rob? Let's look at this video from last week where Donald Trump basically says he doesn't pray. If you're on the Vote Common Good email list, which we hope you are, because if you're not, you're just really missing out.
Let me just jump in.
It's basically our email is basically the drip irrigation version of email for your email box.
Yeah.
So get on it, and 3 times a week we'll sneak in there with a little positive message, a little encouragement, and a little updates. So head over to votecommongood.com if you're not already on there, because we talked about this particular issue in the email this week, and it's really caught people's attention. But go ahead, Rob. You're going to tell us about the most losing.
Well, it appears that Alday Stevenson ran in 52 and 56. So he ran twice.
He was I don't even know that name. He was the Democratic nominee.
Yeah, he was governor of Illinois. Mm-hmm.
He got the nomination twice.
Yeah.
And lost both times.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Well, Donald Trump will be tied.
Well, no, because he's lost once.
He'll lose again.
Yeah, he's gonna lose again.
He's gonna be tied. It's the Cleveland Browns of all this. All right, so Donald Trump was on a news program on Fox News, and the Fox News reporter. We're going to show you the video here in a minute. The Fox News reporter said, "I have a question from a voter. How's your relationship with God, and how do you pray?" I mean, this is softball as they come. There are a lot of things that you could say. I'm proud to be loved by God. I'm trying to love God. I want to love my neighbor as I love myself, the way God loves me. You could kick in a little Jesus. You could say, as a humble man doing the Lord's work in the world and with my family, giving it all I got. How do I pray? Well, not well enough, but ceaselessly if I can. I pray for the American people. I pray for the hostages, the Americans held hostage in Gaza. I pray for our troops. I pray for, there are so many things you could say when you are asked, how's your relationship with God, chosen one, and how do you pray?
Yep.
What you would not say
it's what Donald Trump said.
is I'm winning. I'm winning. More people pray for me than anybody.
And the evangelicals love me.
The religious people love me. Not one of them. And you wouldn't say, well, the only reason I'm good is so I can go to heaven. Because why else would you be good? You literally wouldn't say the opposite things to what all the religious traditions teach, which is if you use the promise of everlasting life as your single motivation for not doing wrong behavior, you've missed the point. They all teach it, especially Christianity.
Yeah.
Teaches it. And then at the end of this little interview, and I think we'll just let it all play rather than pausing. It's only like a minute and a half long, but instead of pausing it to comment all the way through, which is going to be very hard for me, just let him get all the way to the end. The narcissistic level by which he just says, I mean, why else would you be good? There's no point. But you get heaven out of it. It's as if he's negotiating the payments of his goodness to make sure he's going to get, and he speaks about it like a 12-year-old. Like you brought up this point a couple of a week or so ago, Rob, when you said, for those who think Donald Trump is just a baby Christian, he's now been at it by their estimations for 7+ years. You wouldn't still be talking like this if you were going down the path. All right, you have any other setup before we listen to this nonsense?
Yeah, we can do this, and then I got breaking news.
Okay, here we go. Here's breaking news. Donald Trump, how's your relationship with God?
What's your relationship with God like, and how do you pray? That's Sharon from Alabama.
Okay, so I think it's good. I do very well with the evangelicals. I love the evangelicals.
Unbelievable.
And I have more people saying they pray for me. I can't even believe it. And they are so committed, and they're so believing. They say,
they are.
You're going to be okay. I pray for you every night.
How do you pray?
Mean, everybody, almost. I can't say everybody, but almost everybody that sees me, they say it. It's such a beautiful thing. You know what's a beautiful thing too?
What is
when
that,
you look
Don?
at all of this bad stuff going on, they have nothing to look up to. They have
Paying
no
porn
God.
stars?
They have no anything. They kill people. They beat people. They push people into subways. There's just nothing there. Religion is such a great thing. It keeps you. You know, there's something to be good about. You want to be good. You want to. It's so important, and I don't know if it's explained right. I don't know if I'm explaining it right.
No, you're not.
But when you have something like that, you want to be good. You want to go to heaven. Okay, you want to go to heaven.
Listen to this.
If you don't have heaven, you almost say, "What's the
point?
reason?
Yeah.
Why do I have to be good? Let's not be good. What difference does it make?" Right?
Then they all laugh. Why be good? No reason to be good. Don't make the common good. Don't make the benefit of your neighbor. Don't make the shalom, the kingdom of God. Don't make the reconciling of the world. Pick your religion. Donald Trump's like, why would you be good if you don't get heaven out of it? Why would you? And they all laugh. Yeah, why would we ever be good? I bet that voter from Alabama is like, I got to ask the president through a surrogate how his relationship with God is like and how he prays. And what he said to me was, a bunch of religious people pray for me, and religion's a good thing because it makes you be good so you can go to heaven, because why else would you be good? Why wouldn't you push people into subways and murder people? I would, if you didn't have the promise, you would push people into subways.
Yeah.
You might be the worst moral person I've ever known who says, I would kill someone if it didn't put in jeopardy me going to heaven. That's just unbelievable.
I was a Baptist pastor for a long time, and as a Baptist pastor, which I spent the first 10 years of my pastorate, grew up Baptist, and spent the first 10 years of pastoring in Baptist churches. We practiced what we called believers baptism by immersion. So we didn't baptize babies.
Mm-hmm.
People were baptized based on the confession of their faith. And so they would make a confession of their faith in Jesus and would, in obedience, follow him into the waters of baptism and be baptized as a public declaration of their belief. As a part of that, people would sit down with typically, the pastor or the deacon board at the church and share their testimony.
Get a checkup.
Share their testimony.
Sure, you sign that user agreement, right?
they'd have to explain how they came to faith in Jesus, how they got saved.
Yep.
And the purpose of that was to just kind of make sure that, okay, this is legit. And, we want to baptize people that have a credible confession of faith.
Would you baptize Donald Trump based on
any person who came before the deacon board or the pastors and said, well, I want to get baptized because I'm trying to be good so I can go to heaven, would not have gotten the green light to be baptized.
Right. Because you can't be good enough to go.
That is not the gospel. The gospel is you can't be good enough to go to heaven. Yeah. No matter how good you are, you still have sin, and your sin has and this is, what the story was. Yeah. Jesus died, and you have to stop trying to be good as a way of going to heaven and start trusting Jesus. Donald Trump talking about the evangelicals, which means the people who take the good news of the gospel out into the world, how much they love him, gets the gospel wrong. Wrong. At the most basic level.
Yes.
We're not talking like, oh, he doesn't understand the difference between infralapsarian and supralapsarianism, some deep theological thing that is or some, minutia. This is the basics.
Yeah, this is a starting point.
You cannot be good enough to go to heaven. That's why you trust Jesus.
Yeah. This is the whole point. This guy has got to go. And look, I don't care if our presidents are Christian.
No, I don't
care
either.
Any less.
Yeah. No.
We've had Christians who have been our presidents. We've had non-Christians who've been our presidents. Doesn't matter. I don't want that.
Pretending to be Christians to be our president?
Absolutely.
Sure.
We've had totally open. There's nothing about being Christian that's going to make you a better president on its own bit. So I don't care if he's Christian.
Yeah.
The problem with Donald Trump is people who support him speak about him as if he is the chosen one and he is the Christian that we should be voting for in alternative to the other guy. That's the whole point. It's the level to which so many of his supporters have infused him with divine selection.
Mm-hmm.
If the voter from Alabama was questioning him, are you truly Christian? That would have been one thing. I think that voter was probably like, I just want to hear how you do it. It's actually a good thing to ask each other. Hey, how do you do your spirituality? You're Christian, or you're a Jew, or you're a Muslim, or you're a Hindu, or you're a Sikh, or what? Like, how do you do it? How does it work? How do you pray? What's your thing? What are you up to? That's a great question to ask people. That's what the voter was getting at. Hey, tell us how you, and then he unloads this. Why else would you be good? Why wouldn't you be, the people that don't have religion, they just murder people and shove them into subways. Like sharks must not be Christians because they just eat people when their battery powered boats tip over.
Yep. You know who
why else wouldn't you do
religion?
That stuff?
You know who talks about quote unquote religion? People who have none.
Yes.
Like that's just not the way religious people talk. It's just not the way. Doug, we have breaking news.
What's that?
Breaking news. If we are consistent people, Doug, you and I will not be voting for Hunter Biden for president of the United States.
Was he found guilty?
Hunter Biden has been convicted of all 3 felony charges related to the purchase of a revolver in 2018 when prosecutors argued the president's son. Now get this. Here's the crime committed. Do you know the crime committed?
Filled out a form properly.
Lied on mandatory gun purchasing form by saying he was not illegally using or addicted to drugs. Oh, he lied on a form. Huh.
Lied on a form. You can't. That's not illegal to lie on a form. Rigged. Witch hunt.
Now, listen, the absolutely unfair criminal justice system, the criminal justice system that is controlled by Joe Biden, the criminal justice system that is a banana republic, has just convicted
third world country.
is just convicted the son of the president.
Do you think the current president of the United States then will declare this a wrongful conviction and he's a political prisoner and will pardon him?
Nope.
Oh, no, he said no, he won't. And he won't. Huh. Oh,
interesting. And I'll just say, I don't believe a felon should be president of the United States. So I will not be voting for Hunter Biden.
When I see Hunter Biden's name as the candidate for presidency of the United States. Oh, hang on.
Nope.
Oh, is there a difference between a father and a son?
Oh.
Hey, you know what's a great line from a Bruce Springsteen song? Ooh. Adam raised a Cain. Right? If you know the story, hey, it's Bible story time. If you know the story, you get the son of God, Adam, has a son. That has another. So he's got two sons. One he names Cain, one he names Abel. 50% of the son of God's sons were murderers.
The grandsons of God.
Were murderers. You know what you don't do? Blame the parents. You know what the book of Genesis wants us to set aside at the beginning of the whole creation story? Patriarchy.
Blame. Yeah. I was going to say blame shifting too.
Blame shifting.
The whole, this woman that you put in the garden, she made me take a bite of the fruit.
Yeah. That's what you don't do. You don't say, hey, how are your kids? So look, did Hunter Biden commit a crime? I think so. Did Hunter Biden say he committed a crime? Yep. Did he have a deal on the confessing he committed the crime? Yes. Yep. Was that then later pulled back because the punishment wasn't enough? Then he had a trial? Yes. Yeah. Hunter Biden has done so many things that are no good. And I don't care. I don't care for a minute about what Hunter Biden does. I don't care what Tiffany Trump does. I don't care what Ivanka Trump does. I don't care what Donald Trump's child, who we don't know the name of, does. It doesn't matter what children of adult children or babies of people do. No one should care. The only and look, this is on Biden, on Joe Biden, because he chose to insert his family as a bonus, as a rationale for him being a kind of candidate you should vote for.
Yes, as a feature of his campaign.
Thank you. Feature of his campaign. And you heard me railing about this, like, stop with that stuff.
Yep.
First of all, I know too many families. I don't know all the families. Seriously. I don't know all the families because there's a lot of people in the world.
That's right.
But I know enough to know this. Nobody's family is sufficient to be like, you're a great guy. Look at your kids. First of all, if you're doing
exactly what Trump
get over
say,
being a third grade basketball coach who thinks that your reputation is going to be made better if your daughter's team wins that third grade championship because it shows what great loins you have. Ooh. It's nonsense. I don't care if it's third grade basketball coaches or if it's presidents of the United States. No one should care about your kids. Look, human beings are not the downline for their parents' accomplishments. That's not how it works. Adam raised a Cain. It is. There are like great teachings in religion that go beyond just how do you get to go to heaven for being a good boy or a good girl. And some of them are to help us figure out how we should live our lives and stop blame shifting and patriarch padding that parents' greatest glory are their children. For the love. And at the political level, it's even more ridiculous. Parents are not... When I was a pastor at Solomon's Porch, we used to say to parents, hey, just remember, you're not responsible for the behaviors of your children. So when your child behaves in a way that you don't like, and they might do it here with all of us, you don't have to perform. What kind of child are you being? Just help the kid do the right thing and get yourself out of it. You're not the star of the show of your child's behavior. The spotlight's not on you. You're not Forrest Gump in every situation where you need to insert yourself as the star of the show. So let your children learn and grow and experience and love them and support them. And if you're looking at other people's children and thinking, what kind of parents are those? Okay, that's job one. Knock that off. Because I've known lots of really great parents in really tough parenting situations. And I've known parents who have barely performed the minimal level or done even worse harm to their children. And the kids turn out great. It just has nothing to do with it. And we live in this wacky culture. Okay, so all this back to Hunter Biden.
Wow.
Guilty.
That was quite a rant, Doug.
Thank you. I've been, man. Put that on TikTok, somebody. And by the way, I've got 4 great kids. I mean, I'd stand them up to anybody. Just line them right up. Better dad, dad of the year. Hunter Biden, kind of been a criminal for 20 years. Like, kind of doing bad stuff. Yep. Does that mean Joe Biden shouldn't be president? No. And here's another thing about this, Rob. Let me just get on, because look, we can do the same as, the justice system clearly works, so therefore all that true. Not a big fan of people blaming addiction for criminal behavior. Okay, so
yes,
we're walking a line here. Yep. It's like blaming mental illness for criminal behavior. There are people whose mental illness causes them to respond in certain ways, which can involve criminality. There are some addictions that cause people to behave criminally. Let's not be like, hey, a lot of parents, a lot of people, a lot of families deal with addiction. Yeah, they sure do, to a lot of things and a lot of mental health issues. That doesn't excuse criminality. We still have to figure, now, do we need a justice system that doesn't just punish people when what they need is restitution and rehabilitation and support? Of course. But we're right on a line here with this Hunter Biden thing politically, where people are like, well, a lot of families deal with addiction. Yeah, but let's not give the guy a pass. If he committed a crime, and first of all, really gun people. Okay, I'm going to rant now. Really? So many people, Hunter, need to carry a gun that you just need to go buy one so you can have a gun? For what? Honest to Pete. Just, to borrow a line from the group, The Killers, here's the irony. From The Killers, when do we just break down and admit that we've got a problem with guns? Unreal that that's what this has brought us to. Oh, and by the way, but it says Eve got a bum rap.
Oh, for sure. Sure.
They're epic stories. Okay. All right. What are you thinking about Hunter Biden? I was going to say the Hunter Biden case is going to come down today, and that guy's going to be found guilty. And then before we even got to that story,
it happened. I got nothing to say.
The jury may have taken less time than it took to convict Trump of the 34 felonies that he committed.
I got nothing to say other than I'm not voting for Hunter Biden for president of the United States.
How come?
The American justice system worked the way it's supposed to, and okay, he did the crime. Now he'll do the time.
Well, Rob, it's a witch hunt.
I mean, is being consistent about all of this that difficult? I mean, just compare. I mean, you'll probably have the opportunity. You probably already have it. You can compare put side by side the texts you get from Casey, the ones you got after the Trump conviction, and the ones you get from Hunter about Hunter Biden.
I should get something from him now. I'll follow up with him. Maybe I can get some breaking Red Hat news. Where is it?
Just text him and say, Doug, just text him and say, I'm not voting for Hunter Biden for president.
Okay. I'm not voting for Hunter Biden for president. Okay. Here we go. We'll see what happens. Because I'm not voting for the felon.
That's right.
Hey, one more bit of news on the Trump trial thing. There was big talk over the weekend that there was going to be a mistrial
yes.
because a person made a Facebook comment that said, "My cousin is on the jury. Trump is going to be convicted." This was brought to the attention of the judge in the case in which Donald Trump was found guilty of committing 34 felony crimes. The judge then made this notification to all of the legal representation involved in the case and said, hey, this is something we're looking into because if this happened, this is a big deal. Turns out it was a prankster.
Yeah. As it turns out, you can say anything on the internet.
Yes.
You can just post anything.
Yeah,
the guy who posted, this was so funny. I watched all of this happen in real time on Twitter. And this happened twice over the weekend on Twitter, where MAGA Twitter just blew up.
Yes.
And then it turned out that it was all just for nothing. So this guy, he describes himself as a professional shit poster. That's how he describes himself.
Yeah.
This is what he does. He goes on the internet and he makes, what are to him funny comments.
Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who cares? Who cares what he does?
Yeah.
But here's a bigger question, Rob, and that's this.
But
who is his dad?
Can I rant?
Who's his dad? What kind of person raises a shit poster? That guy should lose his job. I don't know what he's doing.
That's right.
Who's your mama? Who's your daddy?
So listen, the Trump folks on Twitter blew up. Mistrial was trending.
Yes.
Folks, we already have a verdict. The trial is over. There was going to be no mistrial,
right?
Because there can't be a mistrial because the trial is over. Okay. Now, what could happen is that if there was something improper, then the verdict could be vacated.
Yes.
But you cannot declare a mistrial on a trial that is over.
Okay. Great point. I think a vacated verdict, even though a verdict vacay would have been much better, #verdict vacay. I get your point. I think it gets to the same outcome, which is that Trump then is, they either have to do it all again. But nice find and good point. And no jury misconduct was found. So back to the drawing board, kids.
Yep.
Maybe when Trump met with the probation officer via Zoom, which again, could we just talk about the accommodations being given for the elderly fella because it's tough to travel and makes a big deal? And they made a good point that normally felons in New York have to come to the probation office and meet with the probation officer. They're not prepared to have the entire apparatus shut down so that Donald Trump can stroll in with government paid security.
Yeah.
So they're not going to do that. So that's why. But I really do wish the probation officer had hopped a plane, shot down to Florida, had a little time with the toes in the sand, and then had a chance to sit across the table from Donald Trump and said, okay, Don, I'm your probation officer, and here's how this is going to go.
Yeah.
You're going to be in touch. And if you're going to travel, you're going to let me know where you're going. And when I reach out, you respond to me, because this is how it works. You are a felon, and I am the court-appointed legal representative to be sure that you follow all the rules that are going to be imposed upon your freedoms, which you have lost because of your criminal behavior. I really wish that conversation had gone on face to face, eye to eye. And normally you don't get to have your lawyer there because the law part of this is over. You are now under the authority of the state of New York. And that is just glorious.
Yeah. So the Trump folks on Twitter thought they had a gold mine, for about 45 minutes, thought they had a mistrial. The following day, Joe Biden went to France to observe D-Day. A Republican Twitter account, I think RNC Research, posted a video where Joe Biden slowly bends over, and then he pauses as his wife says something to him, and the video stops, and there's all this chatter that Joe Biden had pooped his pants.
Really? Not just a Mitch McConnell freeze frame, but
no, that happened today. That's going on today. At the Juneteenth celebration.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, that video is kind of funny. And Hillary Scholten, one of our favorite candidates for Congress in Grand Rapids, Michigan, posted about I don't know, the video today. I'm on a little sidetrack here. The video today is this Juneteenth celebration. Everyone around Joe Biden is dancing and enjoying the music, and Joe Biden is standing there, absolutely still, like a mannequin. It's a little bit freaky. And Hillary Scholten posted something about how, as all the kids who grew up in CRC, in Christian Reformed Church, or I would add in the Baptist denomination, I did totally feel what Joe Biden's feeling in that moment. But anyways, so this video, all this talk about how he pooped his pants, or he was trying to sit in some imaginary chair, and then the whole video was shown.
Oh, and it showed something different?
And it shows him bending over, pausing to hear what his wife has to say, and then continuing to sit down in a chair, followed immediately by Joe Biden and Macron and his wife sit down in chairs next to him on the platform. Over and over and over again, these people think they've got the silver bullet that's going to take down the Biden presidency. They think they've discovered the thing, and every time it's projection, right? Every time it's projection, because we've learned a lot about Donald Trump, and what was it that Michael Cohen called him? Von Schitz's pants, I think, was the name that was used in court. I think that was
Trump had an incontinence problem. Is that a thing? Does he wear diapers or something?
Doug, you follow politics and you don't know all this? Yeah.
I don't do X, or ecstasy, so I don't always know the scandalous poop stories. Is this a thing?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yes, it was. Yeah. Michael Cohen would call him, Von Schitz's pants. That was brought up in court. A lawyer said Von Schitz's pants in front of Donald Trump in a court of law. just
but is that
hilarious.
related to something that's happened with Trump, or is it just
Yes.
okay?
Doug, I don't think you get the nickname Von Schitz Pants if you don't, shit your pants. Like
I don't know. There's a lot of nicknames people have been given that
I
are
don't think
unearned.
so.
All
I
right.
don't think so.
All right. Well,
so
look, every adult male I know has pooped their pants at some point. So let's just be honest here. Let's stop.
Sure.
Let's maybe we find.
I'll tell you who didn't poop his
moment of
pants.
solidarity.
Joe Biden did
at
not
that moment.
poop his pants on stage in Normandy on a D-Day celebration. You dishonest people on Twitter. It's just ridiculous. Yavitz. I feel you, brother.
Yeah. All right. This is what I mean. It wouldn't have mattered. Hey, elsewhere in news, big primaries happening today in lots of states. They're picking the people that are going to be the candidates. And in some races, that means that's the person that will win because it's just the party's going to win. So whoever the party nominee is, that's the person. And other places, it's going to kind of matter. Like South Carolina, there's a big thing going around where Congresswoman Mace has a bunch of people wanting someone else to replace the Mace. And that will be interesting to see. My guess is she's going to come out of this as the nominee. But, targets are put on people's backs for all kinds of things. And Kevin McCarthy is out for revenge.
Super interesting there in South Carolina because you remember in 2022, Nancy Mace was running and she had a primary challenge from a MAGA Trumper. And because she was seen as an establishment liberal or an establishment rhino in 2022. And now in 2024, she is the
other way around. Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy how things shift and change like that.
Well, speaking of this, we will be on the road this weekend in Wisconsin. And I can say it like that because I'm a Minnesotan in Wisconsin on Saturday in and around the Eau Claire area, or maybe we'll pick up in Eau Claire, and then making our way to Michigan on Sunday and be in West Michigan in the Holland area on Sunday. So check the Vote Common Good website for all of our dates as they start to unfold as we start traveling the country. So come see us, come travel with us, get in the tank with us, as we like to say. You can make a little donation there and pay for a mile or two of us traveling around the country. So we're going to be caring about these primaries, but more importantly, we're not caring so much about candidates. We care a lot about the voters, and there's a lot of voters who are still feeling like, I know I can't vote for Von Poop His Pants or Mr. Liar, but that other guy's son. They're a little confused.
Yeah,
about
that other guy's son filled out a form fraudulently.
Yeah, well, he did lie to the federal government in order to obtain a weapon. I got an answer for this for all of us. Stop buying guns. Yeah. Just think about the. All right, you know what doesn't keep us safe? Guns. You know what guns aren't? Shields. Unless you can shoot a bullet out of the air.
Once when I was a young child, I was 4 or 5 years old, and I was about to be spanked by my mom because that happened back in the day. I right before my mom went to spank me, I turned to her and said, "But I have force field."
Nice.
And she said, "Mommies can break force field."
Wow.
And I got spanked.
So much about that. Complicated story. I'm sorry you were struck by your parents, and I'm glad your mom overcame your imaginary force field. Peggy says, can't wait for your podcast after the debate. Me too, and I hope there's a debate because I think Trump is going to bag out of that thing. My prediction, saying it here on June 11th, I think Trump is going to be a no-show. Because he's going to realize there's nothing in it for him. He ain't going to heaven after that behavior.
I mean, it might be that he's in jail and isn't able to attend because he's at Rikers Island.
If he has visiting rights, Biden could go visit him there. Look, he's never going to be
Yeah,
incarcerated.
I mean, can you imagine the debate through the little phone thing with the plexiglass?
Okay, that's pretty good.
Biden just banging on the window.
You should make that up. Yeah. A couple of old men when Biden was like, when I was a baby, we stormed the beaches of Normandy, and I just went over there and talked about it. I think the storming of the beaches of Normandy was 80 years ago. Biden was 1. Trump was yet to be born. Yes. It's a long time ago.
Goodness.
It's a long time ago. All right.
Alex, Peggy, Charles, Joanna.
Yeah, the guy who didn't stay around.
Joseph.
Brad. Christian
Roy.
leaning left, and I'm disgusted when the Christian judges others. Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
but not everybody should be the president of the United States. So.
That's right. Yeah. Kimberly. Thanks, everybody.
Roy, did you say hi to Roy? Roy? Hi, Roy. Roy seems new to us. Wow. Joseph. There you go.
Whew. Coming in with you think he's got that? You think he's got that copy and pasted, like ready to go, or does he type that up every time?
Is he tippy tapping? No, he's got it in a note. I've got a bunch of those. Just comments are just ready in the notes. Should probably create a shortcut. All right, y'all. Hey, thanks.
Oh my goodness. Speaking of which, have you seen the new iOS that's coming out? iOS 18?
No.
Announced yesterday?
No.
It's coming out this fall.
Not till fall.
We're going to be a step closer to living within the movie Her, and I cannot wait.
Wow. Excellent.
Yeah. Siri getting some major upgrades.
Oh, and good. Because I got to tell you, I have a lot of friends, and no friends treat me as badly as Siri does. I mean, I've never been so misunderstood in my life.
Yeah.
By my
and Siri's going to start having access to ChatGPT on your phone.
Ooh. I did see this. That Apple announced some big AI integration.
Looks amazing. Can't wait.
Okay. I'm going to have to get a new phone for it to really work.
I don't know.
Sure hope so. Hey, somehow poor Kimberly was both simultaneously early and late for the podcast. She came on at 9 looking for us. Then we didn't come on until 9:45. So then she went away, and then she got back here late. Kimberly, I'm sorry. We double backed on you there. Somehow we created the conditions where you could be early and late.
Yeah.
And that's on
Kimberly,
us.
Maybe next time jump into the text group where we're deciding on the start time. That might help. And listen, definitely watch the replay because the first 25 minutes of garden talk is gold.
Yeah, it's gold, baby. Hey, Casey writes back, I'm not voting for a pastor or Sunday school teacher of America. He's using my line. I don't know if Sarah Huckabee Sanders is running to be the governor or running to be the Sunday school superintendent of her daddy's Sunday school. He's on it. Yeah. Now the whole line from all the Trumpers is, we're not voting for Trump because he's Christian. We're voting for him because of his.
That's right.
Okay. All right. Have you seen the Chosen
character
One videos?
Counts? Yeah. The character counts crowd. The the Bill Clinton should be impeached crowd.
Stand right with me, and we'll look Michael Flynn and Steve Bannon in the face and say Donald Trump is not a man of Christian faith,
listen,
and I'm voting for him anyway. Say it,
if
friends.
we're gonna look Steve Bannon in the face, it's gonna be through that plexiglass.
I mean, again, I've done prison work. I know a lot of prisoners. I don't think I know as many convicts as Donald Trump does. I've never worked with so many, but I've never worked in like a program where people are helped out of prison and then into jobs. That's pretty much what the Trump campaign is. Should we just start counting the list of the people who are crimes that are associated with the guy?
But I think it goes the other way. Oftentimes it's hey, we're going to help people who've been in prison. We're going to help ex-cons become gainfully employed, as opposed to we're going to take all of our employees and send them to prison.
It's a reverse program criminal jobs program. Oh, that's good. That's good. Hey, work for Trump Incorporated. You too can go to jail. How many? But what happened to Donald Trump's dad? That's what I want to know. That's where I want to start. And then his dad, and then his dad, and then his dad, and then his dad, then his dad.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? I don't like Don Jr. And that has nothing to do with Donald Trump and everything to do with Don Jr. himself.
Right. Yeah. He's carrying all his own water on this one.
Yeah.
You know, it reminds me of finished up the podcast with a little sermonette too. The Gospel of John, born not of human decision or of a husband's will. In other words, not born of the patriarchy, but born of God. That's how we ought to think about each other. Not who's your daddy, not who's your mama, not who's your bloodline, not where were you born, not who'd you come from. But as you know, Pete Townsend wrote and Roger Daltrey sang, "Who are you?"
Wow. We got Springsteen lyrics. We got Killers lyrics.
Oh, we got classic rock. It's classic rock lyric day on the podcast. Okay. All right. Here it is. Just so you all know how it's going to go. Casey writes me back. Hunter Biden was found guilty. I'm shocked. I said, well, that was the point of my text. He says, my faith in the system is renewed. And now he'll get a slap on the wrist. So if you want to know how it's going to go, is, well, look at the punishment difference. Okay. So there's just no point at which people are going to be like, okay, I guess the system does work when it needs to. Because you know who's treated most unfairly in our judicial system?
Oh, rich white men.
With political power.
Yeah, for sure.
How weak of a person are you when you can't even use your white, rich, male political power? All right.
Okay.
Sleep well, everyone. And
bye-bye.